What is going on, you guys? I'm your host, Stacey Cole Morgan, and you're listening to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast here on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Goodbody HQ, or wherever you find your preferred podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the Call of Duty League Championship Weekend 2024 happening on July 18th through the 21st right here, guys. And let me tell you, this is a banger right here of COD Championship weekends right here. So we're going to break down each and every single matchup, and also we're going to go in order of how those matches will be placed according to Jacob Hill whenever it comes to the losers brackets for like day 2 and day 3 like that. And also on today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Atlanta Falcons, previewing their matches from week 9 all the way to week 18 right here, guys. So you definitely don't want to miss it. And also the Falcons' chances of winning the Super Bowl this year definitely is well, I wouldn't say a shocker, but for some it may be. So let's go ahead and get straight into today's podcast.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Welcome to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Cole Morgan. Here on the Morgan Man Sports Podcast, we talk Atlanta Falcons news, pre-game predictions, and all other news surrounding the Atlanta Falcons.
Touchdown, Atlanta!
Also on the podcast, we talk Call of Duty League, esports, covering Roster Mania, major predictions, COD Champs, player trades, and much more to get you ready for every single CDL weekend.
Scuff goes through, and Scuff stands, wins the one-on-one, and Optic with the reverse sweep.
If that sounds good with you, put on your Falcons jersey, grab your gaming headset, and let's get this show started. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the Atlanta Falcons schedule right here and their Super Bowl odds to go ahead and get that out of the way. So last week we covered week 1 through 8 right there, guys. Now we're covering week 9 through 18. So week 9, we are in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium against the Dallas Cowboys on November 3rd, 1 p.m. that Sunday. And again, this is based off of pre-camp predictions right here. This is not post or preseason, nothing like that. It's pre-camp right here based off of what happened in the draft and free agency so far. So for week 9, the Dallas Cowboys, that's one of our toughest opponents right there, but we are luckily at home, and it depends on the home field advantage. If we're, let's just say, undefeated at home so far, I think we have a strong home field advantage against the Dallas Cowboys, and that should make us win the game very close. I would say by a young Wicked field goal right there, but I'm not getting like into like just score predictions. I'm just like win or lose straight up. So week 9 right there. Week 10, we are in New Orleans. Usually we split this one, but I have a feeling that we do sweep the Saints this year. With Kirk Cousins, I think he's a better quarterback than Derek Carr, honestly, in just my personal opinion. So I do think we have a chance to win this one. Might be by a touchdown. But hey, a win is a win, and sweeping the New Orleans Saints, definitely like it. Week 11, we travel up to Denver to face the Broncos at 4 or 5 p.m. that November 17th. And guys, I really like this matchup right here. The Broncos are a very young team. They got, Drew Lock and Bo Nix. Right now at quarterback, I think Bo Nix might end up winning that job anyways over Drew Lock. I think it is Drew Lock. I can't remember. Someone will have to let me know on Twitter at MMS Stacey Morgan. Let me know the quarterback situation for the Denver Broncos. But we do know, of course, Russell Wilson is out of there. Or it might be Zach Wilson. Might be Zach Wilson, not Drew Lock, because I think he's with the Seattle Seahawks. So either way, regardless, I see it's cold weather month right now. So we'll come into November, it will be. So it's cold weather. It's pretty much a late afternoon game or early afternoon. I just don't like the Falcons' chances right there. It depends on how bad the weather is. But knowing Denver, that high altitude right there, is probably going to be a very bad weather game, like so super freaking cold. I will say the Falcons take an L right here. But luckily, we do get a West Coast team coming to Atlanta, and that would be the Los Angeles Chargers on not Christmas Day, December 1st at 1 p.m. in the Benz for Week 13. I do like our chances right there because the Chargers has been just kind of Hopefully we got the right coaching staff and we don't lose this game, because this is a game we should definitely be winning big time. Then we travel up north on Week 14, December 8th, to face off against Kirk Cousins' former team, the Minnesota Vikings. I really like this one right here. The Vikings are sort of in that rebuild year. Definitely they got a rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, from Michigan. So it's going to be kind of an interesting situation right there. But hey, I say the Falcons win that one on the road, December 8th. Week 15, we got the Las Vegas, I was going to say Las Vegas Legion. That's Call of Duty League. But the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football in Las Vegas. So that would be a primetime game for Kirk Cousins to prove himself that it is not just primetime games that he can, do bad in. So, knowing the Raiders right here, they could pull off a sneaky win, especially it being primetime. But if it depends on if the Falcons are really doing well at this point right here, and it's so hard to predict because for us, it's a whole new coaching staff. Yes, we do got young and talented guys who can ball, and we got a veteran quarterback who knows how to give them the ball. So it's all going to come down to coaching right here in this one. So I will have to say that the Falcons do walk away with the dub on Monday Night Football. So back in the Benz for Week 16 against New York Giants, December 22nd, 3 days away from Christmas, at a 1 p.m. showcase. I do like us against the Giants. They lost a lot of their weapons, especially Saquon Barkley, to the Philadelphia Eagles in free agency, so I like it right there. And for Week 17, you got the Washington Commanders. We will be facing them in Washington, or basically the state's capital, or country's capital, I should say. And that will be with newly announced head coach Dan Quinn for the Commanders. So, oh boy, this could be a revenge game for the Falcons, especially for Raheem Morris, because he's the one who took over for Dan Quinn back in 2020 when Dan Quinn got fired. So I like to see that scenario right there. So we are on the road against the Commanders. But then to finish out the season, I really like it here. To finish out the season, Week 18, you got us going up against the Carolina Panthers at home in the Benz to finish out the season. So we open the season at home and we close the season at home. That's a good scenario for the Falcons right there. I do think we win this one. The Panthers, they're also in a rebuild year. Whereas the Falcons, against every other NFC South team outside of, let's just say outside of the Buccaneers, they're all rebuilding. The Buccaneers, they made it to the wild card or no divisional round against the Lions and almost beat them. So I could see really the Buccaneers being a threat against the Falcons for NFC South Division champions. But Bryce Young, he's in a new system already for just being in the second rookie year. New Orleans Saints, I mean, yeah, they're built to win now, but they just kind of fell off towards the end of the season, and it just did not work out for them. So really, again, our biggest opponent in the NFC South this year is definitely going to be the Buccaneers. Second will always be the Saints. Usually it's first, but this year it's second. And then third, obviously the Carolina Panthers, because we know that they're really not going to be capable of doing nothing. Now, I could be sitting here saying that, And then by God, they go 16-0, 17-0, whatever, and win this damn Super Bowl. It's just not a realistic possibility, but those chances are very slim. So that means there's still a chance. So overall, guys, I really like the schedule right here. Basically, our toughest opponents is definitely going to be Philadelphia, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, all of them right there. So yeah, Steelers, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, and Chargers. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're a tough opponent, but they can find ways to really win it because, again, Chargers, they got a new head coach in Jim Harbaugh. So you got to look out for him because he's going to bring out that 49ers playbook that he had back in 2013. And of course, he's going to update it, obviously, but he's going to update it to where it's going to fit today's modern style, but it still worked back then and it's going to work now. So that's going to be your toughest opponent right there. So I have to wait and see because Justin Herbert, Chargers quarterback. I forget his name sometimes, but yeah, he's got a cannon, of an arm, and he can sling that ball. So definitely, it's just going to be interesting to see. Now, as far as the easiest opponents go right here, ladies and gentlemen, of course, Panthers twice, Commanders, Giants, Broncos. So yeah, we're definitely in a good situation right there with 5 of them, and of course we got 5 tough opponents. So the others are kind of in between right in there. Not really much to say on the rest of the opponents. So speaking of Super Bowl and playoff scenarios, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons and their odds to make the playoffs and to win the Super Bowl. So the Atlanta Falcons at plus 2,400 are currently not among the favorites to win the Super Bowl this season. In terms of making the playoffs, the Falcons spot is minus 245 in odds. So this is coming from trblive.com/sports/Atlanta Falcons right here. And of course, Atlanta's postseason odds. So playoff odds are tremendously great at minus 245. If you bet $245, you win $100. And the odds range is 6, but Super Bowl odds is plus 2,400. You bet $100, you win $2,400. And that odds range is sitting at 12th. And of course, you can find those stats right there at BetMGM. For future odd insights, while the computer, and this is according to trblive.com, while our computer rankings puts Atlanta 26 in the NFL in terms of winning the Super Bowl, the team Super Bowl odds ranks come in significantly higher, ranking it the 12th best odds to win the Super Bowl. Based on moneyline odds, the Atlanta Falcons only have a 4% chance of winning this year's Super Bowl, and the Falcons do have a chance of qualifying for the playoffs based on their odds are at 71%. And for the easiest and toughest games, which I already went over that, toughest Steelers, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers. For easiest is Panthers, Broncos, Giants, Commanders, Panthers. In which all those teams, really, the Chiefs has got a plus 600 odd to win or go to the Super Bowl and win it. The next highest would be, plus 1,400 right in there. So, it's not a very likely scenario that a lot of these teams are going to make it. Like the Steelers, for example, I just don't see them making it. Eagles, maybe a wild card, and that's about it. Chiefs, obviously, making a Super Bowl. Cowboys, maybe a wild card. Chargers, wild card, but hey, they're in a separate division, so we're not really worried about them. So those are your odds for the Atlanta Falcons. I really do kind of like the odds a little bit right here, guys. It's a lot better than what it has been in past years. Where it's just dead last in odds. But hey, we're the 12th best team to make the Super Bowl. So that is pretty impressive. but that is the Kirk Cousins effect. So hopefully this is a year where Kirk Cousins just absolutely balls out, proves all his haters wrong that they don't choke in the spotlight on like playoff games or, you know, nationally broadcasted games like Monday Night Football or Sunday night, whatever the case may be. This is his chance right here because, again, we're paying him $181 million on 4 years, or I think it was a little bit more than that, but it's a lot of freaking money to bring in a veteran quarterback who just had a surgery done and expect him to take us to the Super Bowl. So he's got to put up the numbers, and I think he can. You just got to give him a shot right here, along with that offensive line, which is definitely great weapon. So we're definitely giving him the package. He's just got to deliver. All right, so now we are flipping the script over, ladies and gentlemen, to the Call of Duty League right here. So for COD Champs weekend, it is finally upon us in 2 weeks, starting at Thursday. So the matches consist of the Atlanta FaZe taking on the Miami Heretics, New York Subliners taking on Seattle Surge, Toronto Ultra taking on the Los Angeles Thieves, and Optic Texas taking on the Los Angeles Guerrillas. So those are your winners bracket matches right there, ladies and gentlemen. And according to Jacob Hale on X, or formerly known as Twitter, winners bracket, of course, FaZe, Heretics, Ultra Thieves, Optic Guerrillas, Subliner Surge. Losers bracket. This is interesting. Loser of Atlanta, Miami versus loser of NYSL, Seattle. Obviously, we knew that. And of course, loser of Texas LAG versus loser of Toronto Los Angeles Thieves. And the bracket will flip for losers round 2. So that would be the order that everything goes. So I really like it right there. I think this is a possibility where FaZe needs to win COD Champs to cement their dynasty. But now you got the New York Subliners who just beat the Atlanta FaZe in the Major 4 to submit their request, the dynasty title, as you would say, because Subliners, they were like mid-pack of like betting odds to win the Major 4, and then they just outperformed everything and beat Atlanta FaZe 4-2 at the Major 4 tournament. So the top 4 has won a major. That's pretty damn impressive. So now it's a toss-up of who's going to win COD Champs. Are we going to get the Cold War FaZe and let them just absolutely just wreak havoc on every single team? Are we going to get the Optic Texas squad that won the Major 3 tournament? Are we going to get the Toronto Ultra who won the Major 1? Are we going to get the New York who just won the Major 4? I mean, everything is a possibility. But now you can't not talk about the Guerrillas right here. The Guerrillas definitely had a fantastic run during the Major 4 tournament. Hell, made it to top 3. They made it basically the championship Sunday, is what I'm saying, for like the first time in a very long time. And this is actually Guerrilla's first COD championship since the inaugural season back in 2019, when, of course, COVID first broke out, and then every team got to compete. You know, rank 1 through 12 had to compete at COD Champs because everybody's like, okay, it's not fair. You know, certain teams didn't make this, blah, blah, blah. But then after that, it was the top 8 teams. Thieves, you could make a case for them, but I don't see them really making it past losers round 1. I don't see how Surge, I just don't see them making it. Heretics, I think Heretics is going to be a wild card in this one. I think Heretics could honestly make it to losers round 3 with the Guerrillas. And then, of course, you know, that leaves your top 4. Optic, FaZe, Toronto, and New York. Which of those top teams are going to make it? That's who I think honestly needs to, where it comes down to, because these bottom tier teams, yes, they stepped their game up, but they haven't stepped their game up just enough to where they're competing with the Atlanta FaZe, New York, Toronto, and Optic. I mean, yes, Optic has completely just fallen off since that Major 3, but it is what it is in that scenario. If I have to pick a winner, damn, I don't want to say Toronto. I really don't, and I don't want to say New York. And at the same time, I don't want to say Atlanta FaZe, but at the same time, I really do. Because this is what you brought Draza in for during this offseason, was to get over that hump and start winning your playoff matches and close out on Championship Sunday during the majors. That's what you brought him in for. Yes, you won the Major 2 tournament, but that was it. Yeah, y'all were some damn good competitors on the online qualifiers and all the way up to Championship Sunday, but then after that, you just completely fall off. So there's really not many, I should say, there's not a lot of hope I'm giving Atlanta FaZe to win COD Champs. But if I have to guess right, I'm just going to say Atlanta FaZe wins COD Champs this year. I think that the Draza signing definitely helped, and it definitely needs to step up. I really do. But I think the runner-up would be, oh man, this would be so damn great, would be Optic. I think Optic has enough juice to come back and at least make it the Championship Sunday with Atlanta FaZe, but fall short right there in that scenario. And of course, behind them would be Toronto, and behind Toronto would be New York. So, yeah, I'm going to say Atlanta FaZe MVP of the tournament would definitely be Simp, I would say. Regular season MVP, possibly even Simp as well. You could make an argument for a Beezy, because the top 3, well, I wouldn't even say top 3, but just in the entire category for MVP, 3 out of the 4 FaZe members are in MVP category, talks right now. So that's super damn impressive if you are the Atlanta FaZe. So that's who I'm going to pick, is the Atlanta FaZe to win COD Champs. But they have to step up their game big time. Hard points, get on the damn hard point. There was one point in Hotel Star 6, something like that. I think it was Star 6. On P3, P4, Abizi was right on the point. Well, I mean, he was near it, but he was never getting on it. And I'm sitting here thinking, and he's killing time, and I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, dude, Abizi's killing time. He is not captured any points on this hill, and there's no one from New York around to contest. And I mean, there's still like freaking 35 seconds left on that hill, and you're not contesting it, like not capturing points. Come on, man. Like, that's Atlanta FaZe's biggest weakness right there, is hard point. I am sorry to say, if anyone thinks that Atlanta FaZe has improved in hard point, I think they've just completely just F the hard point. We'll win it and search, destroy, and control. Yes, that's good to win those, but you got to win your hard points too to be a top tier Call of Duty League team, especially in today's environment. And that's where you see like Subliners, Ultra, and Optic, they thrive. They're the number one, basically the top 3 teams in hardpoint. Yes, you could make an argument for FaZe of like making like breaking hill ranks or holding hill ranks, whatever. But in my eyes, from what I see on that computer screen, I'm seeing a FaZe that just is scared to capture points. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's a team I see that is scared to capture points when it's one person by itself and the whole other enemy team is way far away and you're not even capturing. That's what I see. So FaZe has got to step it up. They really do. But if they lose COD Champs, I think it's going to be... I think you're going to have to take a long, hard look at next season. Do you keep this squad for the Black Ops 6 here? Or do you find another person? Or do you have to look at Celium, which would be stupid? Looking at Beezy, which would be stupid. Looking at Simp would be stupid. Hell, even looking at Draza would be stupid. I think this is a team that could carry on to the Black Ops 6 year and a Triarch title with a Beezy and Simp. This is written in the stars right here. But then, of course, you got to have Celium, and he won that title as well. Black Ops Cold War. So Draza, I think I say you keep him, and then you go into this Treyarch title like you did in Cold War. And I hate to keep saying Cold War, but damn, that was a Treyarch title from 3 years ago, and they won COD Champs off a Treyarch title. So it should be written in the stars where this Atlanta FaZe squad needs to win in a Treyarch title this coming COD season. So guys, what do you think of COD Champs in the bracket so far? Do you think this was done right? Do you think all 12 teams should be competing? You know, what is your opinion on COD Champs? I want to know in the comment section below, on the X post, and then on YouTube, the Morgan Man Sports Podcast on YouTube. But anyways, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to like button wherever you are listening from, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you find your preferred podcast. But until then, Morgan. We'll catch you all later. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.